Good morning, world. Good morning, beautiful audience. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful morning. Today is a very special show indeed. We're focusing on health, of course, and really victors. There is a soldier who is just unbelievable. He is here to tell us his own story of triumph. Okay, fantastic. Good stuff right there. So imagine being 12 years old. What were you doing? Yeah, you're wondering what you were doing. You were just being a child. So imagine finding something foreign on your neck and then your life changing forever. That is exactly the story of Dan Obura, and he's here to share us his story of victory. Everybody put your hands together for Dan right now. Hi, Dan. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Have a seat. But first, hugs. You know we love to hug on this show.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Excellent, Dan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Today, we're all about great triumphs, overcoming challenges and issues in our lives. You are a young man,
Yes.
fun-loving, 12 years old, typical 12-year-old boy. Tell us your story growing up.
Basically, my story began when I was 12 then. Came back from school, having a normal life as any other kid, to my auntie discovering, actually noticing a lump on my neck. Then now from there is now when we did our first visit to an ENT, who diagnosed it as accumulation of fat. So I was put on a special diet. This is fiber and a lot of, how can I put it? Let's just say I was out of
Healthy
fat.
foods,
Healthy,
yeah.
yes.
Because you're a typical 12-year-old,
Yes.
eating the sausages, eggs, bacon, whatever mama can fix, yeah?
True.
Okay. Now, of course, this issue doesn't go away, regardless of your new yucky diet. Nothing changes, right? So what happens next?
Well, from there, it's now when we seek a second opinion. And this is not from my uncle who's an ENT in Nairobi Hospital, where he's basically well experienced with this. So just by doing a physical exam, this is just by touching it, he knew what it could be. So now from there, it's now when I had to be taken into surgery. This is now where they did the biopsy. Waited 2 weeks and my results were out and I had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
Yep.
You're 12 years old. You don't know much about Hodgkin's lymphoma. Don't know much about cancer. What is going through your mind as a young boy?
Well, my parents didn't reveal it to me then. This is now after I finished my radiotherapy. Then the moment they mentioned that I had to go and do chemotherapy, it was quite straight up. I knew
quite fast, huh?
Yeah, I just knew. The moment they told me I have to go through a chemotherapy session, I knew it was cancer.
Okay.
And asking my mom at that time, because she knew the kind of person I was. So I believe they kept it from me because they knew it would basically depress me before I began the treatment. This is now the radiotherapy.
As any parents would, no parent should be armed with what to do after a cancer diagnosis of their child, you know? So of course they didn't know.
Yeah.
But your parents have been amazing and have stood by you.
Yes.
How did your life change after this diagnosis?
Well, I used to be a very silent boy.
Yeah.
After my diagnosis and during treatment, I went I didn't want to basically interact with anyone and everyone. So I always kept it to myself in school. I was this weird kid who always had a turtleneck on because my skin had to change, color and all that through the radiotherapy.
Because of the radiotherapy.
Yeah. So after that, I started talking about it. This is now after I finished my campus life. And the moment I talked more about it is now when I discovered I'm not the only one who had cancer. So from there, I just became a bit more positive and aggressive when it came to life. I always look at my challenges or anything I see, I basically come into, this is now in life, as an opportunity and something I should actually, take on by the horns. So yeah, I can say loud person.
Of course, and I think it's that second lease,
Yeah.
Looking at, of course, the fact that now you are in remission for 14 years, amazing, right? Let's give him a hand for that. It's just such a huge feat. Looking at your life and looking back from the diagnosis up to this point, how have you changed? And in terms of awareness of other people who might go through the same thing, other families, other young boys, just like yourself?
Well, I realized, I wouldn't say lucky, but being in a family that we were able to actually afford, this is now my medical expenses, I didn't quite think of it like I would make it, first of all.
Yeah.
Because in the back of my head, I knew I was gone. But after making it is now when I came out and started talking about it, I discovered that there are also people who actually need help. So I had to basically find a way in which I could help. Financially, it was a task, but I came across Eda's Hope,
yes,
where anything you have, this is now financially or when it comes to basically emotional support, they basically take you in as a volunteer and they expose you to all these different, patients in different hospitals for you to just connect to them and just talk to them and just give them that bit of hope.
Yeah. And, Dan, for you, obviously, with your family being there and even the doctor who gave the diagnosis, having known you before, very blessed, very lucky indeed. But there are so many Kenyans who don't know anyone, who feel that sometimes this is a stigma issue, it's a curse. They don't have the money, they don't have the funds, they don't have the access. A lot of people are suffering silently and hopelessly. Apart from just Eda's Hope and in terms of your research and the groups that you've worked with, is there hope?
There is hope.
Okay.
When you look at the innovation that's basically there right now, as from, can say, 7 years back, most screenings right now are free and hugely discounted in different types of hospitals, depending on the campaign that they actually have on the different types of cancers. October is coming. It's basically a cancer awareness month. Most organizations will be basically putting out communication of free screening, and even if you're at a certain stage in your diagnosis, they find ways in which is you don't spend much, but what they do is, I don't want to put it as an offer,
right?
But it's like they lighten the burden financially for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get people to raise funds for you. It's not everyone, but it depends on which stage you're in and the need as well, because they have to do a background check of you as well. So they look at how better, they can, assist you.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so crucial. A lot of people fear that moment and that diagnosis, but I just feel that it's so important that you just step out there and just risk it. Rather they catch it early.
Yeah.
Rather they catch it in stage 1 rather than stage 4. Looking at your life today, how are you doing? Tell us about your work. Are you living a normal life?
Actually say, yeah, I wouldn't compare my life with anyone else.
Right.
To the extreme, I travel a lot. I'm always out, the outdoors, exploring new things about, I can say, nature.
Yeah.
Did
it change you?
It did. It did, because it's all about taking a second chance at life.
Yeah.
So whatever you didn't get to do, what would you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do today?
Yeah.
And of course, there are situations where a lot of people would think, I can't even imagine a young man, a young boy going through radiotherapy, chemotherapy, your skin, your loss of hair, loss of appetite, all of those things. But that, of course, that moment, that treatment also made you very conscious about your lifestyle. Tell us about that.
As you mentioned earlier, I was always a sausage, bacon, pizza. I would wake up in the morning and have fries for breakfast.
Wow.
So right now, I'm very cautious in terms of what I take. Okay. Yes, I will have my fries and my, rotisserie chicken and all that, but I'd be very careful in terms of if I take something really oily, I look at ways in which I can,
mitigate.
Yeah.
Exercise, outdoors, that kind of thing.
True.
That kind of thing. Yeah. To parents who are watching you, Dan, now and who have a child who's suffering from cancer or any other disease, what would you tell them in terms of hanging in there and just not giving up on their child?
One, I'd say, from my experience with my parents, is it's all about the battle of the mind mostly.
Yeah.
Because I've known people who have had stage 2, stage 3 cancer, and they've made through it all because people kept on encouraging them over and over, again. So it's yes, a physical battle, but also a mental battle. Because every single morning when you wake up and you get a text from someone saying, hey, what's up? How you doing today? You get the sense of, even if it's 1 or 2 people, there's someone actually who's watching out for you. So it even builds you emotionally.
Right.
So even when you step into hospital to get your chemo, you will always have a positive mind of, I will get through this.
And you have to have that positive mind. I know during your chemo as a young man, you did have friends that you used to meet there during your sessions. Tell us that story.
I had a couple of friends, and we always used to be very excited because it's a day off school.
Right. You're 12. It is the only exciting thing, you know?
And I can say for them it was different because it's my parents who used to take me to hospital.
Right.
They used to alternate. For them, you'd find it's probably the nanny, you know, the driver, you know, and the driver is all about, yeah, I'm here to do my due diligence in terms of work, and I take you home. So you wouldn't get that, you know, support from, like, you know, someone who is family.
Right.
Someone who's very, really close. So for them, they'd look at me and they'd be like, why are you so happy? And I'm like, because my people are here.
Yeah.
I didn't say that, but, you know.
But you knew.
But I knew these people, like, my family is here for me. So I lost several friends through that. So one day you're in bed lying, you go to bed, you say, tell a friend good night. Then when you wake up, they've passed on.
They're gone.
You know, they're gone. And it was sad, but actually I saw the main function of having people around you.
Yeah, support is so important. And that's why you decided to join an amazing platform like Eda's Hope. Give it up for Dan, everybody. When we come back, we'll talk, of course, more about Eda's Hope and the kind of support that's out there. If you are watching this show, you know someone who has been diagnosed with cancer, someone who is living with cancer right now, who just needs a helping hand, some support, some information, this is that show. Tell them to tune in right now. We are going to connect you guys to Dan on our social media platforms. So when we come back, he gives us more insight on what is happening when it comes to support. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so glad that you're watching. We are here, of course, with Dan Obura, who is sharing his story of victory. I'm so happy that you decided to share your story. Not very, very easy to do. Your type of cancer, if you can just tell us exactly what the diagnosis is and the stage at which you were diagnosed.
My diagnosis was Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was in its early stages. It's early stages,
and that's actually the point, is that you caught it early.
Yes.
Some people actually catch it a little bit too late. In the first part, you said screening, prevention is so key. Looking at where we are as a country, and I know that you've done a lot of research and you're working with a lot of organizations, where are we?
We're getting there.
Yeah?
We are getting there. At least right now we have equipment, and this equipment is more or less readily available, even in your government hospitals, your Kenyatta hospitals. And like we've noticed that, I've noticed that cancer units and centers are more vocal when it comes to diagnosis and screening. So we still have a long step to go when it comes to, I can say, the whole treatment, and when it comes to especially the pricing.
Right.
People should actually start thinking of insurance, NHIF, and any other private, institution.
But I mean, Dan, to be honest, and I think I've done my fair share of health interviews just to realize that a lot of Kenyans, regardless of having that information, of I need to get my NHIF and my private insurance together, they just don't have it. They don't have the money, they don't have the means, they don't have the information about where we are as a country. And so what you find is a lot of fear surrounds the issue of going to get screened, a lot of fear about just walking into a hospital and asking the doctor, what is this lump, what is this thing going on with me? How do we start to ensure that this information is especially getting to Kenyans on the ground? Because in Nairobi, I feel like we have the info, but in other counties, not so much.
Well, I believe there are many ways in reaching out to people, looking at the different type of medias that we have. There's digital, social, which is already penetrated, the country. But there are people who listen to radio, there are people who watch TV. And for those people who can't access, this is now TV or radio, how about just even going on ground? Because I believe there are people who are willing to do this, but they need support.
Right.
Case scenario, there's hope. They do a lot of reaching out to people, not only in the urban areas, also in the rural areas. And every single time they are vocal about it, people more or less look at them in terms of, okay, why are they raising, money and all that? If the institution is credible and it has a track record, because everyone always wants to know how long have they been there, what have they done, and I can say most of them have actually documented their stuff online or any other platform that they have. Even being a simple volunteer, just to share the information you have, with these people in the rural areas, it goes a long way.
All right.
Yeah.
There is also something to be said about the sensitivity of personnel within hospitals or within some of these care centers. As a 12-year-old, looking back now, that many years later, do you wish that someone had just told you and not kept you in the dark? And of course, this means that there are young people in this country who are probably going through the same thing, but they're in the dark about their own health. What do you feel as a young boy who was diagnosed then?
I can say my parents know me in terms of how I reacted to news. When you failed in school and your report card gets to them before you and they tell you, okay, so you got a D or you got a B or you got an A. Parents know their children. So for me, I felt that my parents already knew me and the kind of person I am. So them holding the information until later helped.
Okay.
People are different. There are people who will take the information and they'll be like, okay, this is a fact, and let me run with it. And there are children who'd be like, oh, so this is it. And from what they've heard and what they've been exposed to, is anyone who gets the disease passes on.
Right.
So I believe it's as a parent, you should actually have that interaction with your child to the point in which they can come and actually tell you, Mommy, I feel a lump here, Daddy, I feel a lump here. And yeah.
It's about paying attention as well.
Yes.
As parents, as adults, we have to pay close attention.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, you liked, like all of us, your sausages, your eggs, all of that bacon, the good stuff, your diet and your lifestyle and how it changed during treatment and even now. Take us through that.
My diet before I was diagnosed was bad.
Yeah.
I was always on fatty foods. There was no trace of vegetables in my meals at some point because it was always pizza, burger, fries. When I was diagnosed, I just had to create a discipline. This is me as an individual. After I finished my diagnosis, to my medication, to now where I am right now, I am more aware of what I eat, what I drink, and to a point in which I do my monthly, checkups.
Okay.
I can say I'm blessed to have actually insurance from my employer.
Okay.
Which I use just to know how my body is reacting to different types of things I put into my system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, on this show, the reason I asked you that question is because we advocate for a healthy lifestyle, which is such a huge part of ensuring that you keep your health stellar. And of course, we want to share something called Foodies, all right, which is a segment on this show that really highlights different types of food. Today, we're looking at foods that help you keep cancer at bay. And if you, of course, have cancer, these are also some of the foods that you should be really taking in. Take a look, everybody. teaching you new stuff every single day. Log on to social media platforms where we'll share part of that clip, of course, with you, and also a lot more information on Edda's Hope and what Dan and a lot of his supportive team are doing. Edda's Hope, really, really great initiative and platform. Tell us how you got connected to them.
We practically met at a screening that the Mata Hospital was having. And when I reached out to them, they're like, this is what we're doing and it's awareness, and are you willing to be on board as a volunteer? And I was like, sure. So what we used to do is, I used to do a lot of social media, posts like, creative and just sending out information with the Edda's Hope logo on it. Then I actually discovered that they actually do raise funds for individuals who can't, afford or access most of us, medication and facilities.
It's expensive, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So it's all about profiling a patient, looking at the need. Then now from there is now when you reach out to the public and you let people know that we know this guy. We've done a full background check on them, and they actually need this help. Okay. That's now where we come up with campaigns. I know one campaign that we're doing coming October is now the Cancer Gala Awards. Yes. This is the third one. So what we do is we nominate people who are very vocal about the disease.
Right.
Then now from there we get people to nominate, like, your best cancer soldier, the person who actually makes noise most on social media, male and female in different industries. Now from there people get to vote using now a text platform. Okay. Then now all the proceeds that basically people put in, this is now from texting, who you want to basically be the ambassador, all the proceed goes to the individual. Okay. So just apart from that, we also have sports where it can be a simple rugby game, friendly, and get people to pay entrance. Now from there, all the money that's gathered still goes out to, helping a needy patient.
All right.
Yep.
Dan, you are currently working?
Yes.
Would you say life is normal for you?
Very normal.
Yeah. It's just not regular. Even now you're supposed to be at work, right?
Yes.
What do you do?
I tend to call myself a planner.
Okay.
So what I do is purely on the digital space. So I do online reputation management for my clients. So it's all about flagging stories online when there is a story and it's like, getting a lot of heat.
Man, for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
I made a lot of noise on that one. And I think Kenya actually needed it.
Right.
They
absolutely.
needed a diversion,
right.
From all the tension. So I can say that's what I do. It's fun. I never thought I would be paid to do,
It's what you love so much.
Yep.
What you love so much.
Yep.
For a lot of people who don't understand cancer, who don't understand life during and after cancer, now that you're in remission, do you feel that you are living a normal life? Your dreams, getting married, having kids? Tell us about that part of things.
I do believe I'm in the right path when I look at myself and my peers, where I am in my career, where I am socially. I feel that I am on the same level as my peers. I do plan to get married, and not ready yet.
Okay, good.
Because I do have, I know people say there is no specific time we'll meet the right person. I'm very open. Okay. So whatever life throws at me, I take and run. Absolutely. I take and run, yeah.
We wish you nothing but love and lots of happiness in your future.
Thank you.
Give it up for Dan, everybody. So awesome. Thank you for being here and for sharing your story with us. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Guys, we are going to connect you to Dan. He's online making moves, all right? If you're also looking to make a move online, he's one of the people who can help you with that. Log on to social media platforms where we will connect you to this great man. For now, we thank Minute Maid. Have you had your Minute Maid yet?
Can I carry it?
You have to. It has power. Man, it's like, I'm literally making everybody switch to whatever they were having to Minute Maid. It's so good. I literally don't even need to have breakfast. Cheers.
To better living?
To better living and to Minute Maid. Thanks,
Cheers.
everybody. We take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.